Do you really know about the tragic life behind the spotlight of Cher, the goddess of pop? It's definitely not as rosy as you think, having spent almost 80 years of her life. In fact, Cher's life is full of uncontrolled turmoil that seriously damaged her soul. In this video, you will witness firsthand the difficulties that Cher had to overcome. Some stories will shock you. Let's get started. Cher's family history is marked by a complex web of relationships, beginning with her parents, Georgia Holt and John Sarkeesian. Their journey together was characterized by a whirlwind romance that ultimately ended in divorce. The story starts when Georgia Holt, a teenager at the time, was working in a donut shop in Fresno, California. There, she met John Sarkeesian, a truck driver known for his charm and good looks. The sparks flew between them, and they quickly decided to tie the knot in a hasty ceremony in Reno, Nevada. However, Georgia Holt soon began to regret her decision. She realized that marriage wasn't what she wanted, and shortly after their wedding, she left John Sarkeesian. But he was persuasive and convinced her to give the marriage a chance for 3 months. If she still wasn't happy, he promised she could walk away. Before those 3 months were up, Georgia found herself pregnant with Cher. Unfortunately, their tumultuous relationship couldn't withstand the test of time, and they ended up divorcing when Cher was just 10 months old. Cher's father, John Sarkeesian, was a struggling gambler and drug addict, which made their relationship challenging and volatile. They rarely communicated, leaving Cher with a distant connection to her biological father. Interestingly, Cher's deep love and respect for her Armenian heritage were influenced by her father, John Sarkeesian. She cherished this part of her identity, even though her relationship with him was strained. Cher's true father figure in her life turned out to be Georgia Holt's third husband, actor John Southall. He was married to Holt for 5 years, and their relationship was marked by frequent and violent conflicts. This marriage eventually ended in divorce when Cher was just 9 years old. Despite the rocky relationships within her family, Cher's journey was shaped by the unique experiences and influences of these various parental figures. Cher's mother, Georgia Holt, had a highly tumultuous and unconventional life that significantly impacted Cher's upbringing. Georgia was married a total of 7 times, including 2 marriages to Cher's father, John Sarkeesian. In 1978, Georgia opened up to People magazine, explaining that the societal norms of her time pressured her to marry repeatedly, as it wasn't considered acceptable to sleep with someone without being married. These frequent marriages and divorces led to a nomadic and often financially strained lifestyle for young Cher. Georgia was an aspiring actress and singer, but her career never gained the stability needed to support her family. Cher's early years were marked by uncertainty, as her mother took on bit parts in movies and occasionally found singing gigs. When Cher was just 2 years old, their circumstances became so dire that Georgia, a single mother at the time, had to place her daughter in the care of a Catholic orphanage for several weeks while she attempted to secure a more stable financial footing. Cher and her half-sister also spent extended periods living with their grandparents, often for months at a time. As their mother, Georgia, struggled to find work in the entertainment industry and lived in inexpensive apartments. Cher's childhood was filled with economic challenges, and she had to make do with what little they had. In a 2010 Vanity Fair cover story, Cher recollected her hardscrabble upbringing, expressing how she felt ashamed of her clothes and was particularly hard on her shoes. She mentioned that her mother would scold her for the wear and tear on her shoes, saying they couldn't afford new ones. Cher even recalled going to school with rubber bands around her shoes to keep the soles from falling apart. Despite these difficult circumstances, Georgia Holt occasionally made inroads into Hollywood, leading to moments of contrast and confusion for Cher. Their life fluctuated from eating canned stew or beans 1 week to living in Beverly Hills the next, creating a stark and sometimes perplexing existence for the young Cher. Cher's upbringing was characterized by the resilience she developed in the face of constant change and financial struggles, shaping her into the iconic figure she would become in the world of entertainment. Cher's high school years were marked by her sense of being an outsider despite her undeniable attractiveness and intelligence, though her grades did not reflect her intelligence. From an early age, she had a clear and ambitious goal: to become a star. In Mark Bigo's 2001 biography, Cher, If You Believe, Cher's disinterest in academics is highlighted. She had a strong aversion to school because she felt she didn't fit in with her peers. Cher explained, "I hated school because I didn't fit into the right spaces. I was always thinking about something else. I was thinking about when I was grown up and famous, where I'd want to live or who I'd go out with or what kind of dresses I would wear. I wasn't into high school at all." However, Cher's academic struggles were not solely the result of her dreams of stardom. She faced an additional challenge: dyslexia, a learning disability that affects reading comprehension, spelling, and writing. During her time, dyslexia was not well understood, and many individuals, including Cher, were often unfairly accused of not applying themselves in their studies. Cher shared her high school difficulties in an interview quoted on the University of Michigan's dyslexia help website, saying, "I got really bad grades. D's and F's and C's in some classes and A's and B's in other classes. When I was in school, it was really difficult. My report cards always said that I was not living up to my potential." The frustration of dealing with these academic challenges eventually reached a breaking point for Cher when she was 16 years old. Unable to find her place in the traditional education system and fueled by her determination to become a star, she made the bold decision to drop out of school during her 11th grade year. In 1963, when Cher was just 16 years old, she embarked on a life-changing journey to Los Angeles. There, she crossed paths with Salvatore "Sonny" Bono, a 27-year-old songwriter and record promoter. At the time, Cher had been kicked out by her roommates, which led her to seek refuge with Sonny. Initially, Cher's role in the arrangement was that of a housekeeper. Their relationship was initially platonic and professional. However, the dynamic between Sonny and Cher soon evolved dramatically. By 1965, their connection and their career as the folk-pop duo of Sonny and Cher were ablaze, largely thanks to the release of their iconic hit song "I Got You Babe." This tender and timeless ode to young love against the odds resonated deeply with the youth culture of the 1960s, propelling Sonny and Cher to international fame. Following the success of "I Got You Babe," the duo continued to release a string of hits, including a re-release of their first single, "Baby Don't Go," and the 1967 hit "The Beat Goes On." Encouraged by their musical success, Sonny and Cher ventured into the world of film, attempting to make a mark with the 1967 comedy film Good Times. Unfortunately, the film met both critical and commercial disappointment. In an attempt to revive their fortunes, the couple invested a significant portion of their accumulated wealth into a film titled Chastity, which was a drama written and produced by Sonny as a starring vehicle for Cher. Regrettably, Chastity also failed both artistically and financially, pushing Sonny and Cher to the brink of financial ruin. Adding to their challenges, shifting musical tastes in the 1960s saw their style of light, folky pop becoming less appealing to younger audiences who were gravitating toward the heavier, psychedelic music of the era. Struggling with substantial debts, Sonny and Cher decided to reinvent themselves as a nightclub act in Las Vegas. This move represented a significant shift in their careers as they transitioned from pop sensations to a successful live performance act, marking a new chapter in their shared journey in the world of entertainment. Ironically, the turning point in Sonny and Cher's return to the pop culture spotlight came through their Vegas lounge act. This act combined music and comedy, featuring not only their musical performances but also the humorous banter between songs, including Cher's sharp and deadpan put-downs of Sonny. This unique blend of entertainment opened doors to television success. In 1971, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour made its debut and quickly became a ratings hit. However, by the following year, the strains on their relationship began to surface. Despite both Sonny and Cher engaging in extramarital affairs, Sonny's constant womanizing began to take a toll on Cher. She remarked, "One woman, or even 5, was not enough for him." They chose to remain married for business reasons, even though their personal lives were complicated by their relationships with other partners, some of whom even lived with them in the same house. According to a diary entry dated August 21, 1973, Sonny Bono wrote, "My public wife is still Cher in order to maintain all the things I want right now. That's the way it has to be. This entry reflects the challenging nature of their relationship, as they tried to maintain a facade of marital harmony while their personal lives were far more complex. By 1974, the pressure of upholding the illusion of a happy marriage became too much, and Sonny and Cher decided to separate. Cher eventually demanded a divorce, citing involuntary servitude as the reason for the dissolution of their marriage. The divorce was finalized in 1975, and Cher, who had previously allowed Sonny to handle the business aspects of their careers, found herself in a challenging financial situation. She left the marriage virtually penniless and facing substantial debts owed to her ex-husband. This marked the end of their personal and professional partnership, and paved the way for Cher to embark on her successful solo career. Following her divorce from Sonny Bono, Cher embarked on a mission to revive her careers. After the end of the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour, she decided to go solo with her own show titled Cher. Much to her surprise, and contrary to Sonny Bono's prediction that America will hate you and you won't have a job, her solo endeavor was a remarkable success. Audiences loved her, proving that she had the star power to stand on her own. In the meantime, Sonny Bono launched his own competing show, The Sonny Comedy Review. However, this show didn't fare as well as Cher's. It struggled and was cancelled after just one season, a clear contrast to Cher's thriving career in the TV industry. Although Cher continued to captivate television audiences, her fortunes as a recording artist were quite dismal during this period. Her 1975 album, Stars, failed to gain much traction, stalling at a disappointing 153 on the Billboard 200 chart. Her subsequent album, I'd Rather Believe in You, released in 1976, performed even worse. It was a commercial flop and didn't even manage to chart, highlighting the challenges she faced in the music industry. Cher's next attempt, Cherished, released in 1977, also faced a similar fate, failing to chart and leaving her struggling as a recording artist. To make matters more challenging, she teamed up with her new husband, Southern rocker Gregg Allman, for an album titled To the Hard Way in 1977, credited to Allman and Woman. Unfortunately, this collaboration did not excite public interest among fans of either artist, and it turned out to be another misfire. By 1978, Cher's career had hit a low point, and according to TV Party, Warner Brothers decided to terminate her contract. It was a challenging period for Cher professionally, but her resilience and talent would eventually lead her to new successes in the years that followed. During her contentious divorce from Sonny Bono, Cher found herself in a whirlwind romance with Gregg Allman, the hard-partying Southern rocker and vocalist for the Allman Brothers Band. This unexpected love story took an even more surprising turn when Cher and Allman decided to tie the knot just 3 days after Cher's divorce from Bono was finalized in 1975. However, the honeymoon phase was short-lived, as only 9 days later, Cher filed for divorce from Allman. Cher, who had been sheltered from the notorious wild side of the music business by both Sonny Bono and her former boyfriend, record producer David Geffen, was ill-prepared to deal with Allman's struggles with alcoholism and heroin abuse. According to J. Randy Taraborelli's biography, Cher, as reported by Entertainment Weekly, Allman's substance abuse issues had reached a point where he was so impaired that he couldn't even comprehend that Cher was leaving him. Cher recalled, despite the initial breakup, Allman pledged to get clean and sober, and the couple reconciled a month later. However, their relationship faced further challenges when Cher made the decision to reunite with Sonny Bono for a reboot of their successful variety show in 1976. This decision put significant strain on her already tumultuous relationship with Allman. In response, Allman filed for divorce. It wasn't until Allman learned that Cher was pregnant with their son, Elijah Blue, that he relented and decided to remain married. Nevertheless, their marriage was a rocky one, and they eventually decided to part ways for the last time in 1978. Tragically, in 2017, Gregg Allman lost his battle with liver cancer, passing away at the age of 69. Cher expressed her grief on Twitter, stating, reflecting the deep impact that their tumultuous relationship and shared history had on her. After her divorce from Gregg Allman, Cher took a new direction in her music career by signing with Casablanca Records. This transition occurred during a disco music-dominated era, and the label strongly encouraged Cher to create an album with dance-oriented pop. Despite her self-identification as a rock artist, she was somewhat reluctant, but eventually recorded the album Take Me Home. The title track of this album, Take Me Home, turned out to be the hit that Cher needed at the time. It not only revived her recording career, but also recast her image as a disco diva, a style similar to the popular Donna Summer. This reinvention helped her regain her footing in the music industry. Following the success of Take Me Home, Cher released her next album, Prisoner, later the same year. Initially, this album was planned to showcase both Cher's rock and disco sides. However, Cher's insistence on including less danceable material ultimately led to the album's failure. Unfortunately, Prisoner failed to chart, and history seemed to be repeating itself in terms of Cher's challenges in the music industry. In response to these setbacks, Cher decided to double down on her aspirations to become a rock star. In 1980, she formed the band Black Rose, with her on-again, off-again boyfriend, guitarist Les Dudek. The band released a self-titled album that featured a raw, rough-around-the-edges rock-and-roll sound, complete with biting lyrics and screaming guitars. Cher finally had the opportunity to shine as the lead singer in a hard rock band. But the absence of her name on the album's cover confused her fans, and this led to dismal sales for the record. By 1982, both Black Rose and Cher's relationship with Les Dudek had come to an end for good. Cher continued to navigate the ups and downs of her career, always willing to explore new musical avenues and reinvent herself to stay relevant in the ever-changing world of music. With her recording career facing challenges, Cher made a strategic decision to shift her focus to acting. In 1983, she landed a supporting role in the film Silkwood, where she starred alongside Meryl Streep and Kurt Russell. The film was based on the real-life story of Karen Silkwood, an atomic energy whistleblower. Silkwood achieved both respectable box office returns and critical acclaim. Cher's performance in the film was particularly lauded, earning her a Golden Globe and an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. This marked a significant turning point in her acting career. Following her success in Silkwood, Cher continued to take on critically acclaimed dramatic roles in films such as Mask and Suspect. These roles showcased her versatility as an actress and solidified her reputation as a formidable talent in the film industry. Cher's most significant cinematic achievement during this period came with the 1987 romantic comedy Moonstruck, a film for which she earned the Academy Award for Best Actress. This was a major milestone in her acting career and demonstrated her ability to excel in both drama and comedy. Despite her film's success, the late 1980s would bring a new challenge to Cher's life. As reported by Vanity Fair, Cher discovered she had contracted the Epstein-Barr virus while filming The Witches of Eastwick in 1987. However, the full impact of the disease wouldn't become apparent until later. Cher endured a challenging 2-year period during which she couldn't work, and her health deteriorated to the point that she developed pneumonia. She had to decline numerous movie offers during this time, leaving her deeply upset. As she recounted to the New York Times, "I was really upset about it, and when I came back, I had to work my way back up from the beginning." Sonny Bono, known for his musical career as one half of the popular duo Sonny and Cher, faced a significant career transition by the 1980s. Without Cher by his side, his career in the entertainment industry seemed to be waning. However, in 1988, Bono decided to shift his focus to the world of politics. He embarked on a new journey and successfully ran for the position of mayor in Palm Springs, California. This marked the beginning of a remarkable transformation in his public persona. As he reinvented himself in the political arena, Bono adopted a conservative stance and went on to run for the Senate in 1992. Although he faced defeat in this venture, Bono remained steadfast in his ambitions for national office. His determination paid off when, in 1994, he was elected as a representative of California's 44th District in the United States Congress. Bono's sudden entry into politics and his subsequent election marked a remarkable transition from his previous career in showbiz. He became a prominent figure in the Republican Party, advocating for conservative principles and representing the interests of his constituents in California. However, tragically, Sonny Bono's newfound role in politics was abruptly cut short in January 1998. While enjoying a vacation in Aspen, Colorado, he met with a fatal accident while skiing. The news of his untimely death shook many, including his former partner and ex-wife, Cher. As soon as she heard of Bono's passing, Cher immediately flew from London to Los Angeles to be with her family and mourn the loss. During a tearful eulogy at Sonny Bono's funeral, Cher expressed her deep respect and admiration for her ex-husband. She acknowledged his intelligence and foresight, giving him credit for transforming her, an introverted 16-year-old girl, and himself, a man with a perceived bad voice, into the most successful and beloved couple of their generation. Cher also highlighted Bono's role as the creative force behind their famous partnership, emphasizing that he had the vision to shape Sonny and Cher into a legendary entertainment duo. Despite the humor and banter that had often characterized their public personas, Cher's emotional eulogy shed light on the profound impact Sonny Bono had on their careers and the entertainment industry as a whole. Cher, the iconic singer and actress, had a busy career that often left her with very little time to play the role of a conventional mother to her children. This demanding lifestyle took a toll on her youngest son, Elijah Blue Almond, as he opened up about his challenging childhood in a candid 2014 interview with Entertainment Tonight. Elijah shared his experiences of being sent to boarding school at the tender age of 7, a situation that made him feel as though he was being isolated and detached from his mother's life. He expressed his emotions about this in the interview, saying, "When you go to boarding school at 7 years old, it's kind of hard to feel like you're not being shunned." It was clear that his early years were marked by a sense of abandonment, which had a profound impact on his relationship with his mother. Although he had reached a point in his life where he was coming to terms with his tumultuous childhood, Elijah still harbored some resentment towards Cher. He acknowledged that while he was working on making peace with the past, it didn't mean that he saw her actions as right. He stated, "I'm at an age where I'm making peace with it because you just have to. But it doesn't mean it's right. It's wrong to do that." In 2013, Elijah and his wife, Mariangela King, briefly moved in with Cher, attempting to rebuild their relationship. However, a dispute, the details of which were not disclosed, caused a rupture in their contact, and the mother and son found themselves estranged once again. Elijah described his relationship with Cher as a work in progress. He acknowledged that they had made progress in addressing their differences, which were inevitable given their complicated history. He explained, "We have our issues. We've worked through a lot of them. We've got some more to go. But when you're an adult, you take on a different sort of tone than when you're an adolescent. But there's unresolved stuff, for sure." Despite the challenges and complexities of their relationship, Elijah still held a deep admiration for his mother. He acknowledged Cher's immense talent, her striking beauty, and her status as a cultural icon, saying, "You know, she's really talented. She's gorgeous. I mean, she's Cher. What's not to love?" This sentiment highlighted the complex mix of emotions and perspectives that defined their mother-son relationship. Cher's marriage to Sonny Bono resulted in the birth of their child, a son named Chaz Salvatore Bono. Chaz, originally named Chastity's son Bono, made headlines in the late 2000s when he embarked on a significant journey of self-discovery and underwent a 2-year female-to-male transition, officially beginning in 2008. This transformation marked a deeply personal and profound change in Chaz's life. Before embarking on his transition, and while still identifying as a woman, Chaz experienced a moment of intrusion into his private life. According to the Orlando Sentinel, he was forcibly outed as a lesbian by a tabloid in 1990. This exposure added complexity to his already complex journey of self-identity. Despite Cher's reputation as a gay icon and a staunch advocate for LGBTQ rights, her initial reaction to Chaz's sexuality and subsequent transition was not without its challenges. Chaz revealed that his famous mother initially struggled to fully accept his sexual orientation and the changes he was going through. However, over time, Cher transformed into a passionate advocate for LGBTQ rights, which also included wholeheartedly supporting her son's transition. Cher candidly spoke about her evolving perspective on Chaz's transition in a 2018 interview with Pride Source. She acknowledged that it was not an easy process for her, expressing her fears and uncertainties. She said, "I didn't go through it that easily," revealing that there was a profound fear of losing the child she loved. Cher also grappled with questions about who the new person, Chaz, would be, how this transformation would work, and whether she would lose a part of her child in the process. However, Cher's love for her child and her desire for his happiness ultimately prevailed. She recognized that Chaz's well-being and authenticity were paramount, stating, "It doesn't make any difference what anyone else feels or what anyone else thinks. Chaz is so happy now and we get along better than ever." What do you think about Cher's life filled with pain and injustice? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.